When we talk about peace, most people instinctively think of external conditions. They imagine a life without conflict, without financial pressure, without emotional wounds, without disappointment. And while those things certainly affect us, the deeper truth, one that the Quran repeatedly brings us back to, is that *** peace is not primarily an external state. It is an internal one ***. You can be surrounded by comfort and still feel restless. You can be in the middle of hardship and still feel calm. The difference between these two realities is not circumstance. The difference is *** connection with Allah ***. Allah himself tells us, verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. Notice the precision of this verse. Allah does not say that hearts find rest in wealth, in status, in relationships, or even in success. He ties peace directly to **d, hikr to remembrance, to awareness of him. And that tells us something profound about human psychology, that the heart was created with a specific need, and nothing other than its creator can truly satisfy it. From a psychological perspective, much of human anxiety comes from a sense of fragmentation. We feel pulled in too many directions. Our identity is scattered between expectations, fears, desires, and regrets. We are constantly managing how we appear, what we lack, what we might lose. This inner noise is exhausting. But when a person reconnects with Allah, something remarkable happens. The heart begins to organize itself around one central truth. Allah is in control, and I am not alone. That single realization quietly dissolves many layers of anxiety. Spiritually speaking, every sin weakens the heart's sense of stability, and every act of sincere worship strengthens it. This is not a metaphor, it is a lived reality. When the soul distances itself from Allah, it does not become neutral, it becomes vulnerable. Vulnerable to obsessive thoughts, to despair, to envy, to fear of the future, to regret over the past. And when the soul turns back to Allah, even imperfectly, even slowly, it begins to regain its balance. This is why you will often meet people who have very little materially, yet they radiate tranquility. And you will meet others who seemingly have everything, yet they live in a constant state of tension. Peace is not proportional to possessions. It is proportional to ** presence with Allah ***. When Allah is absent from the heart becomes a battlefield. When Allah is present, the heart becomes a sanctuary. The irony is that many people turn to Allah only after exhausting every other option, after relationships fail, after ambitions collapse, after health is shaken. But Allah was always the missing piece from the beginning. The heart was not designed to carry the weight of the dunya alone. It was designed to lean on the divine, and this is where the philosophical depth of Islam becomes so powerful. Islam does not deny pain. It does not pretend that hardship disappears when you believe. Instead, it reframes pain within a larger, meaningful structure. You are not suffering randomly. You are not struggling pointlessly. You are moving within a universe governed by wisdom, mercy, and purpose, even when you cannot yet see it. When a believer internalizes this, their relationship with stress changes. Their relationship with uncertainty changes. Their relationship with loss changes. They still feel grief. They still feel sorrow. They still feel fear. But those emotions no longer define them. They are held within something greater. Trust in Allah ***. And perhaps the most beautiful transformation happens when a person shifts from remembering Allah only in moments of desperation to remembering Him in moments of calm, gratitude, routine, and reflection. At that point, Allah is no longer just an emergency exit. He becomes the foundation of the heart. If you are searching for peace, do not only rearrange your circumstances, rearrange your *** connection with Allah ***. Because when the heart finally turns back to its creator, it does not just find answers, it finds rest. And that leaves us with a question that cannot be ignored. If true peace only comes from Allah, then what exactly are we turning to instead? After a heart reconnects with Allah, the next battle that begins to settle is the war inside the mind. The endless overthinking, the fear of outcomes, the anxiety over what might happen next. And this is where tawakkul true trust in Allah, becomes not just a theological concept, but a psychological lifeline. Many people say they believe in Allah, but far fewer actually live with the calm that belief is meant to produce. The gap between belief and peace is often the absence of real trust. At the root of most anxiety is an illusion of control. We plan obsessively, we replay conversations, we imagine worst-case scenarios, we stress about how people will respond, how situations will unfold, how the future will judge us. This mental spiral is exhausting because the mind is trying to do something it was never designed to do. Carry the burden of destiny. Islam does not take effort away from us, but it does take the weight of outcomes away from us. You strive, you act, you make choices, but you do not carry the universe on your shoulders. Tawakkul is not passive. It is not sitting back and doing nothing. It is doing everything within your capacity and then emotionally releasing the result to Allah. That emotional release is where peace is born. The Prophet tied his camel and still trusted Allah. That balance between responsibility and surrender is one of the most powerful mental stabilizers a human being can develop. From a psychological standpoint, anxiety increases when outcomes feel uncertain and identity feels threatened. We fear failure because we attach our self-worth to results. We fear loss because we tie our sense of security to what can be taken away. Tawakkul quietly dismantles these fragile attachments. It reteaches the soul that your worth comes from Allah, not from success, and your security comes from Allah, not from circumstances. This is why the Quran repeatedly links tawakkul with strength. Allah does not present trust as weakness, He presents it as courage. It takes courage to admit, I do not control this. It takes strength to say, whatever Allah chooses is better than what I would have chosen. And it takes spiritual maturity to walk forward without guarantees yet remain unshaken. There is also a deep philosophical shift that happens with tawakkul. The believer no longer views life as a chaotic sequence of random events. Instead, life becomes a guided journey even when the path twists unexpectedly. Delays stop feeling like punishments. Closed doors stop feeling like personal rejections. Losses stop feeling meaningless. A person may still hurt, but they stop feeling abandoned by meaning and that is a critical difference. One of the most damaging mental habits of our time is replaying the past and catastrophizing the future. Tawakkul gently anchors the mind in the present. You act where you stand, you do what you can, you leave behind what you cannot change. This creates emotional breathing room. It simplifies the inner life. The mind becomes quieter because it is no longer fighting Allah's decree. And here is the subtle transformation that many people miss. When you stop obsessing over control, you become more focused, not less. When fear of failure decreases, clarity increases. When panic about the future subsides, productivity improves. Peace does not make you lazy, it makes you precise. But tawakkul is tested when outcomes hurt, when you prayed for something and it still didn't come. When you trusted Allah and the road became harder, not easier. This is where tawakkul matures from a comforting idea into a deep conviction. You begin to trust not just Allah's power, but Allah's wisdom. You may not understand the delay, the loss, the redirection, but you trust the one who does, and over time a remarkable internal shift takes place. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you begin asking, what is Allah developing within me through this? In that moment, anxiety turns into growth. Fear turns into reflection. Struggle turns into purpose. The mind was never meant to be at war with the unseen. It was meant to rest in the certainty that Allah is managing what we cannot see. So the question we are left with is not whether we believe in Allah, but whether we are truly willing to place our outcomes in His hands. Because the moment the heart lets go of control, it finally learns how to breathe. Once a person reconnects with Allah and begins to loosen their grip on control through tawakkul, they quickly encounter the next great test on the path to peace. Sabr. Because trust in Allah does not mean life suddenly becomes easy. In many cases, it actually becomes more demanding. The difference is not the absence of pain. It is the presence of meaning within pain. And that meaning is what transforms suffering into something livable, even something purifying. Patience is often misunderstood as passive endurance, as if it means to simply tolerate whatever happens without emotion. But sabr, as the Quran presents it, is far more active than that. It is emotional discipline. It is spiritual steadiness. It is the ability to remain anchored while the storm passes through you. You still feel the pain. You still feel disappointment, grief, frustration. But your reactions are governed, not chaotic. Your suffering has shape, not collapse. From a psychological perspective, much of human distress is not caused by the pain itself, but by the meaning we attach to it. When pain feels pointless, it becomes unbearable. When suffering feels random, it becomes crushing. But when pain is framed within purpose, the human mind becomes astonishingly resilient. Islam does not promise a life without trials. Allah promises a life shaped by trials. And that distinction changes everything. Every major figure in our tradition was refined through difficulty. There is no shortcut to spiritual maturity that bypasses discomfort. Loss strips you of illusions. Delays expose your impatience. Hardship reveals what you are secretly attached to. And in that exposure, Allah is not humiliating you. He is educating you. The heart that never breaks remains shallow. The heart that breaks and turns back to Allah becomes deep. What makes sabr so transformative is that it shifts your identity. You stop seeing yourself only as a victim of circumstances and begin to see yourself as a student of divine wisdom. You may not understand the lesson immediately, but you no longer assume the pain is meaningless. You move from asking, "Why me?" to asking, "What is this shaping within me?" That shift alone restores a tremendous amount of inner stability. There is also a quiet dignity that sabr produces. The one who practices patience is no longer dependent on constant emotional validation. They stop demanding that life explain itself to them immediately. They develop the strength to carry unanswered questions without being broken by them, and that strength is not loud. It is settled, it is composed, it is rooted. One of the hardest aspects of sabr is that it operates on Allah's clock, not ours. We want quick relief, quick clarity, quick outcomes. But transformation rarely moves at the speed of our desire. Growth takes time because depth takes time, and when relief is delayed, Allah is often doing something far greater than what we are praying for. He is reshaping the one who is praying. This is why patience and peace are inseparable. Without sabr, peace becomes fragile. It exists only when things are comfortable. But with sabr, peace becomes durable. It survives during illness. It survives during financial stress. It survives during heartbreak, not because the pain is small, but because the heart has learned how to stand without shattering. And here is the paradox that many only realize later in life. Some of the moments that once hurt you the most are the very moments that protected you the most. Some of the delays that once frustrated you were the very delays that saved you. Some of the losses that nearly broke you were the very losses that redirected you. But this realization usually comes only after sabr has already done its quiet work. Patience is not glamorous. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't seek attention. It grows silently in the private spaces between you and Allah. But over time, it changes the entire emotional architecture of your life. You become slower to panic, slower to despair, slower to lose hope, and faster to return to Allah. Sabr is the proof that you believe pain is not the end of your story. It is part of the rewriting. And the question we are left to face is simple but unsettling. When hardship arrives, will it make us bitter? or will we let it make us deep? As the heart reconnects with Allah, learns to release control through tawakkul, and is strengthened through sabr, there is one final shift that completes the architecture of inner peace. Where the heart ultimately places its horizon because many people believe in Allah, trust Him in moments, endure hardship with patience, and yet remain deeply restless. Why? Because their emotional compass is still locked onto the dunya. They are still measuring their lives by what they gain here, how they appear here, what they achieve here. And a heart that is fully attached to what is temporary can never be permanently at rest. The dunya was never designed to be a place of emotional settlement. It is a passage, not a destination. When a person unconsciously tries to turn it into a destination, the soul experiences constant dissonance. There is always something missing, something running out, something slipping away. Youth fades, health weakens. People change, status rises and falls. Even joy itself is unstable here. And so the heart that expects peace from the dunya is constantly negotiating with loss. But when the heart gradually shifts its center of gravity toward the akhirah, something remarkable happens. Life does not become smaller. It becomes clearer. The believer still works, still strives, still builds, still dreams. But those efforts are no longer chained to desperation. Success no longer defines their worth. Failure no longer erases their meaning. Praise no longer intoxicates them, and criticism no longer crushes them. Why? Because the final measure of their life is no longer located in people's reactions or worldly outcomes. It is located with Allah. From a psychological standpoint, many inner conflicts are fueled by comparison. We suffer because we measure ourselves against others. Their success exposes our insecurity, their ease magnifies our struggle, their recognition amplifies our invisibility. But comparison only has power over a heart that believes this world is the final scoreboard. When the akhirah becomes real in the heart, comparison weakens. You stop racing against people and start walking toward Allah. This also reframes how a person experiences injustice. In a dunya-only mindset, injustice feels permanent and suffocating. If you are mistreated and there is no worldly restoration, your heart remains trapped in resentment. But when the akhirah is alive, no injustice goes unresolved. No tear is lost, no harm is ignored. The believer may still long for fairness here, but they are not spiritually paralyzed if it doesn't arrive. They know that the true court is not this world. There is also a profound emotional freedom that comes with living for the akhirah. You are no longer forced to extract ultimate meaning from temporary relationships. You love people deeply, but you do not demand that they complete you. You enjoy blessings, but you do not panic when they are reduced. You pursue excellence, but you are not enslaved by outcomes. The heart learns to enjoy the dunya without being owned by it. This does not make a person cold, it makes them balanced. Their happiness becomes more stable because it no longer swings violently with every rise and fall. When ease comes, they are grateful without becoming arrogant. When hardship comes, they are patient without becoming hopeless. Their emotional life becomes grounded, not because circumstances are gentle, but because perspective is stable. Perhaps the greatest peace that comes from an akhirah-entered heart is the peace with death itself. Not a desire for death, but a lack of terror of it. Death no longer feels like annihilation, it feels like a transition. The believer still fears accountability, still hopes for mercy, still prays for a good ending, but death is no longer the ultimate thief. It becomes the door to what the heart was truly created for. This is why the most peaceful people in history were not those who had the most comfort, but those whose hearts were anchored beyond this life. Their calm was not ignorance of suffering, it was clarity about purpose. When your peace depends on what is temporary, your peace will always be temporary. But when your peace is rooted in what is eternal, the storms of the dunya may shake you, but they will not own you. And that leaves each of us with a question that defines the direction of our inner life. Are we living as if this world is the end of the story, or as if it is only the opening chapter?